Hey Wargamers, it's Gregor. I've done reviews of content on this channel before, but I think I found a good way to incorporate such things into my regular uploads. Sorry to keep you guys waiting in the wings, but we'll see how it fares. In any event, I'm going to be talking about the OF-40 main battle tank. It's the Tier 4 variant of the Leopard line of MBTs, considered largely unremarkable by some. Frankly, most of these people are just using the thing wrong. The OF-40 is not a brawling MBT, it's a precision instrument. Your optimal style of play with this machine is going to largely consist of sitting at range and picking away at enemies who overcommit or getting flank shots. It's good to stay at range with this tank as a general rule of thumb though, because its gun handling is very, very good. It has some of the best aim time and accuracy ratings of any MBT at its matchmaking range. So despite this machine's lacking armor, it has enough mobility to peekaboo enemies who aren't paying attention to you, but you should move around a good bit too. Reposition often. Don't try to duke it out with other brawling-oriented tanks that have a good deal of armor, but when possible, you should aggress often on equal or lower-tiered AFVs, light tanks, etc. The tank is somewhat lightly armored by main battle tank standards, and pretty tough compared to everyone else, so it's a great tool to seal club these weaker vehicles with. It also has a pretty tough turret that you can use to hull down with. At range, it's very difficult to hit the weak spot up at the top of this thing, and it has a good deal of HP to soak up damage if it needs to. This makes the OF-40 very good at flanking unwary opponents in certain situations and bullying opponents that don't have enough health to duke you out. Load up heat and wreak havoc when the opportunity arises. In some senses then, the OF-40 is a lot like a hybrid between a tank destroyer and a main battle tank, which is odd to some. I've always liked the long range style of play though, and I do run Sabrina on this tank to get the most out of this machine in terms of that. Alright, so here's the start to a really good game that I had in the OF-40 on the Coastal Threat map. And right away here you can see that this tank isn't exactly setting any land speed records, but it's certainly not a slouch either. And right now I'm looking at the minimap and I'm looking where my team is going, and I don't want any choke points that I can cover to get totally obliterated. So I'm thinking I can get some pretty good shots on the top half of the map with that little path that goes into around the top right corner. And as you can see, I get a good shot into the side of that chieftain that's aggressing on some of the guys that we have in that corner of the map. And notice I didn't take a lot of time to dial in. I just drove on up, stopped, fired, got a good shot. And really, just getting good, clean, accurate shots with this machine could not be any easier. Just lead your target a little bit and you're good to go. Now you'll notice that I move up to this rock formation here to get a better sight picture on the guys moving in around the trees. But I'm confident enough in the capabilities of my turret armor that I'm not going to be taking a whole lot of flak even if I do get spotted. Admittedly, I am firing APCR primarily here, and a lot of the targets that I do end up getting hits on are targets that I could fire heat at, but there is still an MBT kind of lurking around there, and I don't want to chance the possibility that I might not be in a position to actually get a penetrating shot on them with my heat rounds. And I spent a good deal of this game just farming damage on the cliff edge there. Some of the enemies did try to fire back at me, but I guess they realized that they didn't have enough penetrating power to hit me with their conventional ammunition, so I do take a little bit of module damage and just a little bit of splash from the HE rounds that they have, but that still proves the point. I don't think any of their tank destroyers would have had any particular problem penetrating my turret front, but certainly the AFVs. So at this point I moved on because that choke point has been fleshed out well enough, and I demonstrate that the accuracy rating of this tank is certainly nothing to ignore. I just barely managed to get a penetrating shot on this chieftain, right in a spot where my APCR can go through him, and in a relatively quick time. Also, admittedly, I'm pretty sure the guy is half asleep at the wheel, but I pay no mind to that. I'm able to get another really good shot into the lower glacis plate of him with this really quick aim time that this tank has. But then again, the only reason I really went for that shot was because I had such a large amount of hit points remaining, and I was pretty certain that I was going to be able to roll high enough to get him in one shot, of course. I did not. Admittedly, I overcomplicate things in my usual manner this time around, and I switched to HE so that I can be as efficient with my ammunition as possible, and then I totally goof it. Fortunately, I had a teammate to back me up. And so we're in the cleanup stage of the match, and the OF-40 is certainly a good vehicle for this sort of thing. Lots of hit points and some pretty effective heat rounds to get flanking shots. You can also see that the OF-40's hull armor certainly isn't anything to brag about, and as I'm able to penetrate this guy's lower plate with a heat round. In any event, a very, very good match, and a welcome departure from the losing streak I was on that day. I placed in the higher echelon of the team's points, and most of the damage that I got was from range. A lot of people are quick to bash this machine, and I will admit that I don't deny that statistically speaking, this tank is underperforming a little bit compared to its contemporaries, but I'm pretty sure that's in many ways due to user error. This is one of those tanks that'll treat you right if you treat it right. That's my take on the OF-40. Good luck out there, Wargamers. Thanks so much for watching.